Bob.
Hi, Russ.
Hey, I see you're using the new DRBII tester.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind if I watch? I'd really like to learn how to use this.
Sure, no problem, Russ, but if I'm going to show you how to use it, let's start at the beginning, okay?
Great. Hey, there's a lot of info on that little screen.
Well, it can display 4 lines at a time with up to 20 characters a line. You've used the MS-1700, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, but this display shows a lot more than the MS-1700. Plus, it's a lot easier to read, too. Looks just like my digital watch.
Well, that's because it's the same kind of liquid crystal display. It can show you menu choices like you see there, fault messages, sensor readings, voltage readouts, even give you instructions that tell you what to do next in the test procedure. Here, look at the keypad. It has a full numeric keypad, plus these arrow keys. It also has some other special function keys. Enter, mode, ATM, F3, and volt ohm that have special purposes. I'll show you what they all do in just a minute, but remember, knowing how to use the tool is only part of what you need. You have to use the right diagnostic procedure too. For example, there's a diagnostic procedure book just for this 1989 Jeep Cherokee.
You mean there's a separate manual just for the XJ? No, I thought all the diagnostic procedures were in one manual.
Well, they used to be. This year, though, there are separate books for each model. There's one for the XJ, another one for the YJ and the Wrangler, one for the Premier, and one for the Medallion. For each fault code, there's a diagnostic tree chart, which is always on the right-hand page. And on the facing page is other important information, like wiring diagrams or illustrations that show the locations of the components that you have to check.
So I can use the DRBII on all the 1989 vehicles and systems covered by these 4 books.
Yeah. And you can use it on most 1987 and 1988 systems that can be tested with the MS-1700. But you can't use the MS-1700 on 1989 vehicles. All right, let's disconnect the tester from this Jeep, and I'll walk you through the hookup procedure so you know what to do.
Great.
Okay, before I show you how to hook up the DRBII, let me show you what you need to use. First, you'll need this cartridge. It lets you test Jeep and Eagle vehicles and systems. In the future, other cartridges may be released for additional vehicles. The use of cartridges makes the DRBII a real all-purpose tester.
Sure, it's sort of like software for a computer, isn't it?
That's exactly what it is, yeah.
Now, is this a different cartridge?
That one's for MMC vehicles. You'd have to use that if you want to test the Summit, for example.
And is it used the same way?
No, the MMC tests are different. I'll show you how those work another time.
Okay.
Anyway, the cartridge fits into the slot in the DRBII like this. The label and this rib should be facing up. If the cartridge isn't inserted the right way, the tester won't work. We'll also need this adapter. It'll let you connect the DRBII to Jeep and Eagle vehicles. First, I connect it to the DRBII like this. Just line up the slots and push them together, okay?
All right.
Now, we can hook the adapter up to the vehicle. Come on, you take the DRBII, I'll take the adapter, we'll do it.
Great. Now, does the DRBII hook up to the same diagnostic connector we use with the MS-1700?
That's right, Russ. On most vehicles, the diagnostic connector is located on the passenger side of the engine compartment, just like on this Jeep Cherokee. On Medallions, it's mounted on the center of the cowl. The 2 connectors on the end of the adapter cable plug into the 6-pin and 15-pin connectors, like this. Now watch the display. First, the DRBII will go through its self-test.
Oh, I see. Yeah, first it beeped, and then the screen lit up all at once. Then the red light came on, and the green light came on, and now it's showing some kind of Jeep Eagle copyright message. And F3 is flashing.
Right, now that'll stay on the screen for about 5 seconds. The F3 is just to let you know you can get help by holding down the F3 key. I'll show you how that works in a minute. Now you should see a menu, a display with numbered choices.
Okay, yeah, I see it. There's 3 choices. Vehicles tested, how to use, and select vehicle. But wait a minute, before we go on, what if something was wrong? I mean, what if the DRBII didn't pass its self-test?
All right, good point. There are several things you could check. First, you should always make sure you have a fully charged battery before you hook up the DRBII. If it doesn't pass the self-test, make sure the cartridge is properly inserted. And of course, check all the connectors. There are two messages called system faults that can appear if the DRBII fails the self-test. One says, no response from Jeep Eagle adapter. It means you should check the adapter cable or try replacing it if another one's available. The other one reads, defective cartridge, which means you have a bad cartridge.
Right.
Now, let's go through the menu choices so you can see what they are. You see those two arrows pointing to the first choice?
Yeah, you mean on either side of number 1, vehicles tested?
That's right. Now that means that that choice is highlighted. Push the down arrow a couple of times, see what happens. Pushing the down arrow will move through the choices on the screen. If there were more choices on this menu than could fit on the screen at one time, new ones would appear as you reach the end. And when you reach the end of the list, you can use the up arrow to go back to the top. Do that now and choose the first choice in the menu, the one that's highlighted.
How do I do that?
All right. You can do it either one of two ways. You could just push the number of the choice that you want.
Like if for choice 1, I just press number 1.
Right. Or, while the choice is highlighted by the two arrows, you could just press enter. Try that now.
Hey, the screen changed. It says vehicle supported and lists 3 models.
Yeah, that shows you all the vehicles you can test with the cartridge that you have in the DRBII. Now go back to the DRBII menu.
Okay, how do I do that?
Try holding down F3 and it'll tell you.
Okay, it says mode and ATM reset, ATM, DRBII menu.
Right. You just press the button labeled ATM and it'll always return you to the previous menu. If you press mode and ATM together, the DRBII will reset. Actually, from the display that shows vehicle supported, it will return to the DRBII menu by itself after 5 seconds.
Right, it went back when I took my finger off the F3 key. Okay, what do you want me to do now, Bob?
All right, let's see if you can get to choice number 2.
How to use? Okay, I could just press 2, right? Or I could move the highlight arrows to choice 2 by pushing down like this, and then I just press enter. Okay, it says press and hold F3 at any time for help.
That's the first how to use screen. There's a series of displays that give you information on how the tester works.
Okay, now what's this little arrow up in the corner there?
It's telling you that from this display you can change screens by pushing the down key. Go ahead and do that now.
Okay. Hey, now there's 2 arrows, 1 in each corner.
And that tells you you can change the screen by pressing either the up or the down arrow.
That's what the screen says. Pressing the up or down arrow, when shown, will change the display.
That's the kind of information the help screen gives you. And you can get to help from any place in the test procedure by just holding down the F3 key. The message you get will depend on where you are in the procedure. Okay, now go back to the DRBII menu.
Okay, I just press ATM, right? Yeah, that always takes me back to my last menu.
Right. You're catching on pretty fast, Russ. Now choose item number 3 on the menu.
Okay, this time I'll just press 3. There are only Jeep models shown.
Now, wait a minute. Isn't there a down arrow showing in the corner?
Oh, right. That means I can press the down arrow to change the screen.
Right. Use either arrow to toggle through the menu choices.
Okay. Yeah, now I see the other choices.
All right, now that you got the idea of how to use the menus, let's do some tests on this Jeep XJ. First, select the right vehicle from the menu.
Okay, I just press number 1 for 4-liter Jeep XJ.
Right, and now you've got a choice of model years.
Right, so I press 1 again to choose 1989. Now I've got a choice of trans types.
Okay. Just so I can show you something. Choose the wrong trans type, and then make the right choices the rest of the way.
Sure, I'll choose manual trans. Does have air conditioning and ABS.
All right. Now, once you've made all the choices, it'll give you a chance to make sure they're right.
I see, that's why you had me enter the wrong trans type.
All right. To change any of the choices, just pick that number.
All right, when I press 3, it goes back to the trans choices.
All right, this time, choose the right trans type, AW4.
Now all the info looks right.
All right, let's try one more thing. Change the year to 1988 and look again.
Okay, let's see. 1988 model year. Hey, ABS is gone.
That's right. The tester knows that ABS isn't available on the 1988 models, so it eliminates that choice automatically. Now, put the right info back and check it again, and then you just choose Confirm.
Okay, that's choice number 6, so I just pressed a 6 key, or line up the arrows with 6 and press Enter.
And now you should be at the main menu.
Yeah, I got a choice of System Test, State Displays, or Adjustments.
That's right. System tests are the tests of various vehicle systems, like the engine, auto-trans, anti-lock brakes, or motorized seatbelts. The system tests available depend on the vehicle and how it's equipped. State displays show you the state of different components and sensors. When you choose Adjustments, you can perform a throttle position sensor adjustment. You can also choose to use the DRBII to erase the Keep Alive memory on some engine systems, or to erase fault codes on the AR4 transmission. You won't always have all 3 choices on the main menu. It depends on the vehicle you're testing. Okay, let's run a complete engine system check with the DRBII, Russ. First, from the main menu, choose the System Tests.
Choice number 1, okay.
All right, now you'll see that this test is what they call prompted. The DRBII will tell us what to do at each step. I'll get in the driver's seat and you read the instructions to me, okay?
Okay, Bob. The first thing it says is to turn the key off.
All right, before I do, hold down the F3 key.
All right, let's see. It's telling me to do the operation that is shown. If there's no response, press Enter.
You see how the help screens depend on where you are in the test? If you're ever unsure about what to do next, or what a display means, try holding down the F3 key. Now, release the F3 key and you'll go back to the display that you started with. Okay, I'm turning the key off.
Okay, the display says testing.
Right. When it's done testing, it'll give us the next instruction, and so on through the entire engine test.
Okay, turn the key on, Bob. It's testing. Okay, start her up. It's testing. 1/4 throttle, 1500 RPM. Okay, let it idle. It's testing. Okay, turn the key off. It's testing. Okay, start the engine. Okay, it's testing. Wide open throttle. Let it idle. Okay, accelerate it back up to 2500 RPM. Okay, let it idle. Okay, it's testing. Turn the AC on, Bob. Turn the AC off. It's testing. Okay, gently tap the accelerator. Okay, turn the key off. Okay, it's testing. Engine passes electrical test.
Okay, now that we've done a complete engine test, let me show you how to use the state displays. First, you'll have to get back to the main menu.
Okay, to get back to the test menu, I just push ATM, right?
Right.
Okay, and then to get back to the main menu, I just push that again.
That's right. Now this time, from the main menu, choose State Displays.
Okay, it's choice number 2.
All right. Now, take a look at your choices.
Okay, we have engine, auto AW4 trans, and ABS. Which should I choose?
Let's try engine. Now, the information that we'll get was just tested during the engine check that we ran, but it'll give you a chance to see what the displays look like. Now, they're used during some of the diagnostic procedures to help pinpoint problems. For example, they can be a big help when you're trying to track down an intermittent fault.
Okay, under engine state, I have two choices, static and min current max.
Static shows the current display. Min current max gives you 3 different values for each component or sensor. The current value plus the minimum and maximum, since you chose that option. When you're in that mode, pressing enter will reset the minimum and maximum values. But if you go to another display without pressing enter, the tester will continue to record minimum and maximum values. For example, if you chose the map sensor reading and then went to the throttle position sensor, the tester would keep track of the maximum and minimum values for the map sensor even while you were looking at the TPS display. Now, choose static, and then find the TPS display by using the up or down arrows. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start the engine.
That's giving me a percentage. That must be how far open the throttle is, right?
Right. Now, watch what happens when I open and close the throttle. The value should go up and down.
Oh yeah, I see. When you open it, it goes up, and then back down when you close it. It also tells me whether it's closed, partially open, or wide open.
Notice that TPS reads out as a percentage. Other sensors are different. Look at coolant temperature, for instance. It's called H2O on the display.
Hey, it reads out in degrees, Fahrenheit and Celsius.
Right. Now look at something else, like the O2 sensor.
Okay, it reads out in volts, and it tells me if the system is in open loop. Pretty slick.
Right. It gives you the condition as open loop or decel. And if the system is in closed loop, it tells you whether it's sending a lean or rich signal. The scale of the readout depends on the sensor or component that you're checking. Now, let's try one more. Find the knock sensor state.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand this. It's some sort of number?
Right. When the value isn't identified as anything else, like knock sensor state, it's on a scale from 0 to 255. I guess that makes it easy for the microchip in the tester. Anyway, if you were doing an actual test, the DRBII would interpret the reading for you.
Okay, there's one other thing. When I was going through the state display, I saw something called warranty. Now, what's that?
That's not any particular value. It's just a sort of internal check. Sometimes the factory asks you to record that number on the RO to verify your diagnosis with the DRBII. All right, now let's try a TPS adjustment on this Jeep Cherokee using the DRBII. You'll see that all the instructions are right on the DRBII screen, just like when we did the engine test. We'll also need this test lead that came with the DRBII and a couple of jumpers. Okay? All right. Go to TPS adjustments and read the instructions to me.
Okay. First I pick adjustments, then TPS, disconnect TPS.
Okay. By the way, notice that this Jeep XJ has 2 connectors at the TPS. That's because it has an automatic. The 3-pin goes to the ECU, and the 4-pin goes to the trans. For a TPS adjustment, always disconnect the 4-pin. All right. The TPS connector is disconnected. Now what?
I'm not sure. How do I get to the next step?
Try holding down F3 to get help.
All right. I always press enter to let the DRBII know that I've done the operation it's asked for. Okay, it says connect ground to TPS cavity D.
Okay. Let's see. From cavity D to a good ground. There, that should do it. What now?
Okay, now connect the volt probe to TPS cavity B.
All right, that means to connect this test lead from the DRB2 to the TPS connector. Cavity B, right?
Right. Okay, then it says to connect the battery to TPS cavity A.
All right. I'll just run this jumper from cavity A to the battery positive terminal. Next.
Okay, now it says to rotate the TPS counterclockwise.
All right.
Okay, then rotate it clockwise.
All right.
Okay. And then lock the adjustment.
Okay, it's locked. Now what?
Now it says reconnect the TPS connector.
Okay, first let me disconnect these test leads and jumpers. Russ, would you disconnect the volt probe from the DRB2?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. We're reconnected.
Okay, the next screen is TPS adjusted. That was easy.
Right. The DRB2 walks you through the procedure step by step. Now, let's try something just a little different, okay? Okay, Russ, let's go through an AW4 trans check. First, go back to the main menu and choose the AW4 test.
Okay, let's see. If I press ATM, that takes me back to adjustments. And if I hit it again, that takes me back to the main menu. Now, if I choose tests and auto AW4 trans, it's choice number 2. Now I have 2 choices, road test and full test. Which should we choose?
Choose full test. That includes a road test. You'll see that the tester's going to give us a series of instructions. I'll get in the driver's seat, and you tell me what to do as you go through the screens on the DRB2, okay?
Great. Okay, first it says turn key on. Then put the trans in power. Now put it in comfort. Shift to 1, 2. Shift to 3. Shift to drive. Step on the brake pedal. Okay, release the brake. Shift to 3 again. Okay, shift to park. Okay, now slowly depress the accelerator. Release the accelerator. Now the display changed from AW4 trans test to AW4 road test.
That means we're ready for the road test. It's like the checks we just finished, but it requires us to drive the vehicle. So, we'll need the DRB2 in the passenger compartment with us. That means we're going to have to route the cable around to the passenger side. You do that, Russ, and I'll be real careful not to pinch it when I start to close the hood. Okay, we're ready for the road test. What's the first instruction?
It says drive vehicle.
All right, here we go. Now, you'll notice that the DRB2 display will show you that all the solenoids are switching on and off properly. This information can be used when you're doing an actual diagnosis to help you pinpoint the cause of a fault.
I see. One line shows the solenoids that have turned on, and the other one shows them as they switch off. Now it says the transmission passed the electrical test.
Okay, that's all there is to it. Well, we just head back to the garage, and I'll show you a couple tests on another vehicle, all right? You can also use the DRB2 to erase the fault memory of some modules, like the Keep Alive memory on this Premier. I'll show you how it works. I'll get in the car, and you read off the instructions on the DRB2, all right?
Great.
From the main menu, choose Adjustments.
Okay, let's see. Adjustments, that's choice number 3. Then I want to choose Erase Cam, right?
Right. You catch on pretty quickly.
Hey, thanks, Bob. Okay, it says turn the key on.
I'll do that.
Okay, now turn it off.
Okay, it's off.
Okay, now it says cam erased. Wow, this tester sure does a lot, especially when you know how to use it.
No kidding. But there's just one more thing I want to show you, all right?
Sure.
For quick checks, you can also use the DRB2 as a voltmeter or continuity tester. First, connect this test lead to the DRB2.
Okay.
All right. Now, to use the voltmeter function, just press volt ohm once.
All right.
And that'll take you to the voltmeter function from any menu or display except when testing is in progress. Now, touch the lead to the battery positive post.
Okay. Hey, it reads out battery voltage.
Right. Now, if you press the volt ohm key one more time,
Okay.
it'll go to the continuity tester mode. Touch the battery negative post with the test lead.
Oh, I see. It changed from no continuity to continuity. Then it beeped at me, Bob, just like those expensive testers.
Notice that you're always testing for voltage or continuity to ground. The DRBII grounds through the diagnostic connector, so you can't use this function to check for voltage or continuity between two different terminals on the car, for instance.
Okay.
Now, to get back to the main menu, just press volt ohm again. When you're in the voltage or continuity checking modes, holding down the F3 key will explain each function. Well, I think that about does it, Russ. You got a pretty good idea how to use the DRBII, I think.
I think so. Thanks a lot for taking the time to show me, Bob. You know, this DRBII tester sure is a handy tool.
Well, you're right, but don't forget, it's just a tool. You need to use good diagnostic procedures and common sense when you're troubleshooting with the DRBII or any diagnostic tool.